Hello Libra, how are you? Welcome to your May 2016 love and general readings. Let's go ahead and get started, okay? Oops. Libra, your love reading for May 2016, that top one for sure. Okay. Okay. Wow. I don't know if any of you noticed, but I am doing reversals. I forgot to turn all the cards right side up because I do reversals in my privates, and I just started doing it like normal, and I just decided to keep going. So let me tell you though, the very number one thing that I see in this reading is blue. The color blue. All these cards are blue, and I love the blue cards, okay, because it's such an internal, right? It indicates our subconscious, it indicates our minds, our mental states. It's a very internalized energy. And while I know this is supposed to be a love reading, and there are characters here, and I will get to them in just a moment, it's very, very much about you. And you have like a really amazing period of moving on, okay? And I'm super excited for you. This is a really great reading. So let me just dive right in. Seven of Wands reversed, Eight of Swords reversed, Seven of Cups reversed. It's like this really great triangle here. And it's like, I'm actually going to start here, which is maybe a strange place to start, but I'm going to start there because I love this card in reverse because it's like that connection with reality. Okay, you're getting your head out of the clouds, this idea that you have, this fantasy, you know, maybe these options that you have in the dating world. Things are becoming less foggy. Things are becoming more clear, okay? And you are relieving yourself of the stress that from unrealistic expectations, okay? And there is an air or an essence of like almost like smacking yourself across the face and being like, self, stop being an idiot, like focus, get your head back on straight. You need to just remember to keep your feet on the ground, right? Okay. It's maybe a little bit harsh, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like a self-talk, and it's very much you confronting yourself and admitting to yourself that certain things are going on within you, within your mind, within your heart. You know, it could really be, you know, if you are in an established relationship and there might be an attraction to someone else, having that pep talk with yourself and saying, like, I really don't want to ruin what I have, okay? This acknowledging the connection with someone else and acknowledging what it is you want for your future as well, okay? It can be a challenge at times, but ultimately it's good to be connected with reality, right? Okay? And then we have this Eight of Swords, which whatever, and the word prison always comes to my mind when I see this card, because it's holding ourselves hostage. It's holding ourselves, rendering ourselves incapable of moving forward, incapable of seeing truth. And in the reverse position, it again is that relieving of that stress, relieving yourself from that prison, removing the blindfold, removing the swords, and finding your way out. Okay, if there was some mental thing in your mind, maybe you're hanging on to a potential love interest, someone that you're very interested in. Maybe if you are, well, let's just leave it at that. You're going to start to see things more clearly, okay? And if things that you had in your mind weren't panning out in a very real way, you're going to start to be okay with it, okay? Seven of Wands, it's like that, you against the world. Like you're feeling like things are fighting against you. You're constantly having to battle other people's opinions, others' ideas, circumstances that come your way. But in the reverse position, it's things might just start going your way, right? Like you're not battling anything anymore. You're not you're not fighting anymore. And maybe you're giving in to reality. This might be a really depressing reading for some of you. I apologize for that. I realize that not always, that not all the readings speak to all of you all the time. But I think on some level, maybe we all kind of have hope about something. I'm going to move to the twos. The twos are, we'll start with the Two of Swords. Sometimes we feel the weight of the swords. Sometimes we feel unable to see truly what we feel like we ought to see. We feel blinded. But really it's a choice. And it's our choice to acknowledge truth. And as difficult as that may feel, as difficult as that may seem, and as, sometimes the acknowledgement of that truth turns our world upside down a little bit. It affects us, and it causes us to feel like unable to grasp, unable to understand things, the reasons why, and the overall, outcome of why it's supposed to be this way. What I love about this Two of Pentacles is this infinity sign here, right side up or reverse, it doesn't matter, because I think in a love, this is a love reading, right? In the love department, the one thing that we crave is this infinite exchange of energies between two separate entities, right? You and someone else. And we crave that connection, right? Where the energy just flows between us in a very potent way, like it's almost tangible. And I think you might be feeling like that might be something that you're losing. It might be feeling like that's something that's going to go away or something that's going to falter if you acknowledge the truth, if you do come down to reality, that feeling of love, eternal love, right, unconditional love, might disappear. Okay, but I think that's just a fear of yours. I don't think it's the reality, because the reality is right side or reverse, it still exists. So I'm not sure how to tie this into relationships or singles. I'm just going to leave it as it is, and just let you interpret as it may or may not apply to you. But I feel like that uneasiness, okay, that you might inevitably feel through the acknowledgement of truth, through the acknowledgement of like what's real, is going to catapult you into a state of healing, into a state of getting over it. Now, if you are in a relationship, I don't mean getting over or breaking up or anything like that. Simply something that you have been dealing with. It may have something to do with them, it might not. But I'm getting a sense of like desperation a little bit here. Desperation towards someone else, towards the holder of our hearts. Feeling like, one, you might lose them. Two, you might never have them. And three, what do you do if you do get them? Right? Because this person, I feel, is a little bit on a pedestal, or you have put them a little bit up on a pedestal. Your partner, someone you're interested in, or the idea of a relationship itself. If you're totally single, the idea of what a relationship is or should be, like I said, that infinite connection that we crave so much, has been elevated. Okay, and I think that has a lot to do with this coming to reality, is that maybe you're starting to see them in a different way. You're starting to see them as someone real. Okay, they're a king. Yes, male or female, a king. But they're not so majestic. They're not so high up. They're not so much higher than us, so much better than us. They're just people. And they aren't perfect. And that rush that you get, that feeling of attraction that you have with them, is excuse me, is probably what it is you're coming to grips with. Okay, and well, actually, what's interesting about this reading is when you go through these things, you start seeing things for what they are, this connection, right? Just because you start seeing them differently, like I said, it doesn't mean that connection is going to disappear. That infinite exchange is present no matter what, no matter how faulty you may be feeling. If this person makes you feel giddy and like brings out those flutters and that sparkle, like I said, or I don't know if I said that, but I thought it anyway. If it brings out that sparkle in you, don't be afraid of the change in your perception of them, the change of how you see them, of how you view them as a real person, right? This healing doesn't mean necessarily getting over someone or getting someone out of your life. Doesn't necessarily mean that. It's more of a mourning period or a mourning phase of the idea. Okay, there's a lot of elements here of like things that aren't real because of the Seven of Cups here. It's the fantasy. It's the elevated perception of something, and it's the options and the choices, right? If you're dating, this very much can represent all the people, right? All the people you've been out with, that you've been dating, that you've been getting to know, your social circle itself, the funness of the dating, okay? And if you are just getting to know someone, it's always kind of a cold, harsh reality when we start to see like something in them that just kind of bugs us a little bit, or that puts them down on the same level with all of us, okay? Like they're not the perfect version of them that you think that they are, that you thought they were, right? And obviously, if you've been in a long-term relationship, you're not necessarily, I mean, obviously, if you've been married for 20 years, you don't see that person as perfect. But there might be something in that relationship that you had on a pedestal, that you were building up in your mind, or you had some expectation of some sort that sort of got turned upside down, right? But I think there's like a very light air to all of this, right? It's more fun. Like I think sometimes when we hold people to these standards, it's not fun, because then we're trying to be something that we aren't. We're trying to be something that's, that matches that level, but it's not real, and it's just going to lighten everything up a bit. That's why I'm saying like it's a beautiful reading, because it's just so much lighter. You're going to feel more free. And while there might be some heaviness to the ideas and the concepts, ultimately it's like a really, I'm trying to think of another word, but light is the only word that's coming to my mind right now. It's just lighter. And your stress load is going to reduce, your self-awareness, right, of like analyzing everything that you do when you're around them, everything you say, everything you wear, the way you act, is going to be, you're just going to be more normal. I don't know if that's rude or not, but you're just going to be more who you are and who you should be. Because ultimately that's who you want this other person to fall in love with anyway. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a strange, I kind of had a feeling that one of these cards was going to come out, because it's kind of a strange dichotomy where you feel lighter, you're coming to grips with it, but you don't really want to come to grips with it. It's not like you're totally embracing this change. You're not like super excited about it. It's something I think that is going to affect you a little bit, and feeling like maybe you're losing this connection. Maybe you're going to lose those butterflies, that maybe you're changing phases in the relationship, or maybe, like I said, if these people aren't quite panning out, maybe you're feeling like you're gonna have to start to settle in the love department, right? But there is someone, and this is a very a card truly of practicality. And this energy, not someone, I feel like it's you becoming like this king of practicality, this king of reality, this coming back down to earth, okay? I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for you, Libra, my very dear air friends. You feel very comfortable in the sky. I have a Libra ascending. I relate very well to a lot of the Libra energies, so I totally get it. And coming down to earth can be a challenge, because it's fun up here. It's more fun. It's more like, it's just like it's stimulating, it's exciting, and it's, you know, there's a lot going on up in the clouds, right? And Earth is more stationary, right? It takes a long time to change, right? In the sky, the clouds are moving constantly. There's always motion, there's always wind, you know, similar with the ocean. But the land, it's so still, it's so calm, it's so boring on some levels, right? And to come down from an exciting state and, you know, this movement and all this action, to come into something calm, I feel like it's going to affect you. I don't think it's that bad, right? It's not such a huge deal. But it just might make you feel like it's a card of boredom, right? The card of, here you are sitting on the ground, right, on the earth, and feeling just a little bit bored, a little unstimulated, non-stimulated. I'm not sure quite really what to say, but just know, okay, I think this is an inevitability for you, that coming down to earth, getting grips with reality is very much going to be a blessing for you, because no one can live up to ridiculous expectations. Other people that you're dating, someone that you might, I'm getting a sense of like obsessiveness here. Like if there is someone that you're just starting to get to know, you're feeling very attracted to them, you're feeling very like you really just want to get to know them more, right? And you're feeling very, very strongly towards them. I think that the feelings are potent here. But I think there's a self-awareness in you as well because of all of this, right? Because of this triangle here, there is that self-awareness that you know that maybe it's a little bit too much, and you recognize the importance of being more like this, a little more flatlined. And it could be the cause, I think, for some mental stress, because it's just not quite the way you wanted it. It's not quite the way you expect. I think maybe what you wanted is a whirlwind romance on some way, like you want that to be reciprocated, right? You crave that synergistic reciprocal exchange, and you just might not be getting it. And that could be a source of frustration as well, therefore causing you to maybe take a step back. I think this is also a very self-reflective card, taking a step back and like really analyzing which way your heart really wants to go and which way you really feel. Did you get lost or swept up in emotions? Did you get, you know, totally just blown away by someone? Or is it just you? And I think maybe you're getting a sense that they aren't as like swept up in this fantasy as you are. And while that sucks, you recognize that it's just the way it is. And you recognize that while there might not be this relationship, maybe if it's something new, it really could go either way. But you recognize the importance of coming back down to earth. So, okay, I did a lot of talking in that one. Ugh. I hope it made sense. Sometimes, I don't know. It's like, I call it word vomit, right? Like you have a thought and you have to just say it when you're doing these readings. And sometimes it just comes out. and maybe it doesn't make any sense to anyone else. Okay. Your general reading now. Okay. Generals for Libra, May 2016. Okay. Not a lot of recurring cards. We have the one, but this is a much more colorful reading, right? Or two recurring cards, I'm sorry. Well, did this one show up? I don't think this one showed up. I must be confusing at least this one here. Interesting that this is in the center of the reading now. Before it was in the center of the top row. There's absolutely some truth that you are either unable to see, some direction that you aren't able to move forward with. I think it's a source of frustration for you, and it's a source of like holding you back a little bit and preventing things from moving forward. But we have a lot of major arcana here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 majors, 5 of the 9. So the majority, so really, really strong, potent energies here. I'm going to actually kind of skip a little bit ahead and talk about this High Priestess first, because this is things coming to light like I've been talking about. Now this can really, I'm trying to tie these generals in more into like career and finance and, you know, friendships or whatever, you know, other areas. But when you have the major arcana, which aren't really tied to one area, it's very much about you, right? And these are very mental types of things. It's like, for me, that enlightenment and that awareness, this shows it's not so secretive. It's not so down in the depths of your subconscious. It's not so magical, right? It's very prominent. Things are bubbling to the surface. That realization, that reality is coming, okay? 2 of Swords directly in the center between the Devil and the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Okay, there is some hiatus here, some moving on. For me, the Devil, and a lot of people, there's a lot of like conversation that happens about the Devil, right? Some people see it as a commitment card. Other people see it as, you know, temptation. I mean, there's so many different definitions for this particular card. For me, because the dark black of this, it's always kind of goes towards the way of like something that keeps drawing us back in. Okay, whether it's a mental state, whether it's an idea, whether it's a person, right? Perhaps a toxic relationship. And I say toxic, for me, it's like one of those relationships, and I've been there, I've had one of these before. It's like one of those relationships where you don't know why you keep doing it. You don't know why you keep allowing it to happen, right? It doesn't have to be in the love department. It could be a job. Why do you allow yourself to keep working in this position? You're not happy there. It doesn't fulfill you in significant ways. It's like a means to an end, right? Maybe you don't feel like you deserve a promotion. Maybe you don't feel like you deserve something better, or maybe you don't feel ready, right? So you're scared, so you continue to stay. And then there's this other side, right? It's very black and it's very blue and white. It's very heavenly, right? It's like hell and heaven, kind of. Just not really, but kind of. And this really is like that universal intervention. Okay, but I think right now the universe is still setting things up for you. It's not ready for change. And that's why I'm saying like there might be a hiatus here. You might be feeling stuck. Things are coming to the surface. You're coming to realizations that things need to change. You need to move on. You need to work to get somewhere else. Okay, it's time. You are at a point in your life where you know there are other things. Okay, there are better things in different directions. Okay, now on a job specifically, absolutely, maybe a better position, maybe at a different company. If you're working at a company where there's just a lot of office politics, a lot of gossip, you know, that can be a very frustrating place, and it can like suck you in, right? And it might not be something that you want, it might not be something you enjoy, and yet you continue to stay. And I think you are going to continue to stay because the universe hasn't put things in place yet, or things aren't aligned properly for that change to take place. You don't know what's happening. You don't know what the universe is doing. You don't know what it's setting up, okay? You don't know exactly which direction to go. You might be feeling torn, okay? But you're just not ready to make that step. It's an inkling. You're aware of it. You know that at some point you're going to have to. But maybe you need to revisit your ideals, okay? Maybe you need to take a step back and say, what do I really want? What am I really working for? Why am I at this job? Why do I deal with these people in my life? Why do I allow my mother to treat me this way, or whatever? I'm just throwing in random examples. But there's a lot of soul searching, I think, that needs to be done. The universe needs you to come to peace, to come to grips with yourself, with your circumstances, right? And to find or make a decision about a potential pathway to take. You're unhappy at your job. Okay, a lot of us are, but what are you going to do about it? Okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to develop a new skill? Are you going to learn something new? Are you going to learn a new language? Are you going to learn a new programming language? Are you going to learn, a different area? You're in accounts payable. Are you going to learn, the marketing side of things? Are you going to develop skills? Or are you going to just change companies? Are you looking to move? I mean, there are so many options here, but you ultimately need to determine the pathway to take. You're just sort of like a sitting duck here at this point in time, knowing that you need to make a change, but not knowing what change needs to be made. And I'm going to come up to this top row here now, because the Two of Cups is like a conversation, right? And I'm seeing two very distinct energies here, King of Wands and the Emperor. But what's interesting is, like, this Emperor is really speaking out to me. And I don't know why specifically. I think it's because it's this connection with the Wheel of Fortune. And I'm kind of seeing like this as, hesitant to say it, but like seeing him as God, right? Or as the controller of the universe. He is the emperor. He is the general in the army, or the puppeteer. I mean, he's the controller. And this presence, okay, it doesn't need to be a person. This presence, this energy is strong within you. And maybe you are looking to something greater, and you are seeking actively some greater force to help you, that maybe you are seeking assistance in some way. I feel like this is you, okay, connected with all three of them. But what's interesting is that you are kind of looking away, okay? And while you might be seeking the assistance, and while you might be at a state of readiness on some level to have a very realistic conversation with you, with yourself, with God, or with other people in your life that you respect. This can also indicate people in your life that you respect, or a person, right? A father figure, a boss, someone that you can go to for advice, a church leader, most likely a man, okay? Someone. But yet, while you're there, somehow, some way, you aren't quite like ready to hear what it is they want to say. You're just not quite there yet. And This is an ever-evolving process. This is also a very much forward-moving process, also forward-moving. There's a lot of directionality here. There's a lot of change, albeit slow change. Rest assured it is occurring. But it is important for you to have an open mind, and it's something that you know already. And if someone tries to bring this to light and tries to offer an outside opinion, a very neutral third party, very objective, very honest, right? This isn't someone that's going to sugarcoat stuff. They're going to be honest and tell you like it is, what it is you need to do to change, what it is you need to do to take steps. It's an indicator to you. This is an indicator for you to be open and have an open conversation and to not be defensive about what it is that they're saying. Sometimes when people bring out truths in us, we do get defensive, even though we know they're right. It's just human nature. It's not just you. It's just all human nature, right? So. Two more major arcana here, right? Like, I'm just getting a sense that you aren't quite ready to accept the responsibility that comes with change, that comes with moving to a new company, that comes with developing a new skill. It doesn't mean you're never going to be there. Because you're feeling a little bit lost, a little bit confused, which direction do I go? Do I go get my realtor's license? Do I go back to school? Do I start my own business? Do I get a job at the, competitive company? You're just feeling a little bit lost, and it's preventing you from taking that leap of faith. And that's okay. I just want you to know it's not permanent. And the Hanged Man reverse tells me it's going to be that time is needed for clarity to come. Listen to people, have conversations with people. Don't turn your back to them. Don't argue with them. Just listen. Have an open mind. Accept what it is they have to say, because they have objective advice. They're older than you, most likely. If not, they have more wisdom than you. Sometimes we get so lost in our own life, right? And we get so caught up, if we get that tunnel vision. And it's so difficult to see the reality of the situation, but from the outside, it's so easy, right? If to look at someone's life and say, well, this part is a mess. Why don't you just do this? This part doesn't make sense. Why don't you just make this change here? Just listen, accept, don't be defensive. It's okay if you're not feeling ready to take that leap, if you're not feeling ready to make a huge change in your life. That change is coming. It always does. And if you aren't ready to accept the responsibility and the obligation that it will take in order to make that change, it's okay. Because at some point you will be ready. At some point you will feel, okay, this is exactly what I want to do. You're going to have that objective in your mind. You're going to want to pursue something new. But right now, I think the time is not the right time to just jump into anything. Now is the time for soul searching. Now is a time for figuring yourself out. We all get lost at some time. It's a human experience, right? We all go through it. We all get lost sometimes. Just don't get so caught up in the toxicity of a situation, like of a job, or if there's a financial obligation that you have. if you are able to maintain it, just maintain it, and don't make any big, huge, sudden decisions. Like I said, you might be, that awareness is bubbling to the surface. You are aware of what needs to change, or where the pain point is, but the moving forward strategy might be a little bit fuzzy. Okay, so ultimately a very interesting reading. I tried to keep it as, you know, not love related, okay, but it can always tie into love if love is that main area of focus for you. So that's everything, Libra. So thank you so much for watching and tuning in, and I will see you next month. Thanks.